Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa usalli wa usallimu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen nabiyyina wa habibina wa qurrati a'yunina Muhammad ibn Abdullah alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi afdalu salati wa atammu taslim, amma ba'd. فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في قرآنه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا ولقد جاءتهم رسلنا بالبينات ثم إن كثيرا منهم بعد ذلك في الأرض لمسرفون. All praise and thanks be to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is our creator, sustainer, nourisher, protector and curer. We ask Allah the Almighty to shower His choicest of blessings and salutations upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family members, his companions, and all those who tread upon his path with utmost sincerity until the day of Qiyamah. O slaves of Allah, first and foremost I advise myself and then all of you all seated here to adopt a life of taqwa. And that is to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during every single second of our lives if we wish to attain success in this world as well as the hereafter. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us all from the people of taqwa. Ameen. Inshallah ta'ala, the topic for today's khutbah, for today's sermon is suicide is never the solution. And the reason I'm touching on this topic is because for the past few days, I've been receiving calls and alarming information about individuals with suicidal thoughts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, a person with suicidal thoughts, and this I've come to realize this after a few encounters with these individuals and after interacting with them, is that not every suicidal person would be very open to ask for help, but that does not mean that help is not required. Suicide is a desperate attempt that these individuals resort to because they have been blinded by hopelessness, by depression, by self-loathing. They hate themselves, and by isolation, by being isolated from society perhaps, by their family perhaps, etc. The other day I was watching a video on TED Talks, and not that I'm endorsing all of their videos, but this particular video was pretty good. This was a video about a highway patrol officer who talks about his career, where he spent most of his time on the Golden Gate Bridge, which is in San Francisco. According to him, he states that the Golden Gate Bridge is one of the most utilized spots for individuals who wish to suicide. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. And he goes on to say that there is this myth that has been built around this particular bridge, that people have this belief that if you jump off that bridge, as you are falling off that bridge, you are freed from all of your worries and all of your problems. And as you hit the waters cleanse your soul. And then he goes on to say, but in reality what happens is that the minute an individual jumps off the bridge, after a free fall of about 7 to 8 seconds, that individual hits the water at the speed of 100 kilometers per hour, resulting in most of them dying at the very impact of them hitting the water, or else the minute they hit the water, it shatters their bones, and the bones thereafter puncture vital organs, leaving them flailing in the water helplessly until they drown. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, suicide is never a solution, but rather it is a barter with the devil. It is an exchange of known temporary problems of this dunya. After all, the whole life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this whole life that Allah azza wa jal has blessed each and every one of us with, is very temporary, is very short. Suicide is an exchange of known temporary problems with unknown, permanent, eternal problems and torment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. There's a hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is reported to have said, and the narration goes along the lines of these words, that whoever throws himself off a mountain wishing to kill himself, whoever throws himself off a cliff or a mountain will be sentenced to Jahannam forever. The narration goes along the lines of these words. He'll be sentenced to Jahannam, to the blazing inferno of hell forever, and he will keep on throwing himself off a cliff in Jahannam, deeper and deeper into Jahannam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. The narration goes on. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is reported to have said, whoever consumes poison to kill himself, he will abide in Jahannam forever, sipping poison. He will keep on consuming poison, and he will keep on afflicting that pain into his body. And whoever stabs himself with an iron object, with a piece of metal, he will be in Jahannam forever, and he will keep stabbing himself in the stomach. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, and that is why I said it is an exchange for unknown, eternal problems. Those problems are going to be forever, forever. There is no bliss just because you took your life. It's going to be torment and punishments forever in the fire of Jahannam. In another narration, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is reported to have said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam informs the Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, amongst those who came before you all, there was an individual who was afflicted with a particular wound, and because of that he panicked. He panicked because of the wound, and then he took a sharp object and slit his wrist. He slit his wrist, resulting in him bleeding to death. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, My slave hastened to bring about his own demise, his own destruction. Therefore I have forbidden Jannah for him. I have forbidden paradise for him. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, the pain of suicide is forever. It is eternal, as has been reported to us by our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The ayah I recited in the beginning, من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. That an individual who kills another person, another soul, the punishment or the decree over him is as if he has killed all of mankind unjustly. If a person were to kill someone else unjustly, then the punishment for him or the decree over him is that it is as if he has killed all of mankind. وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. And the one who saves a life, it is as if he has saved all of mankind. Scholars of tafasir, they mention that the usage of words by our maker in this particular ayah, nafsan, man qatala nafsan. This particular noun is not in its definite particle. It is an indefinite noun, meaning a soul and not the soul. Therefore, it is in a general and comprehensive manner, indicating that even if you were to kill your own selves, even if you were to take your own life, that Allah Azza wa Jal blessed you with, it is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no right whatsoever. We don't own our body, nor do we own, we don't own our bodies, nor do we own our souls. All of that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if we were to take our own lives, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all, it is as if we have killed all of mankind. And likewise, if we were to save an individual, it would be as if we have saved all of mankind. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all to do so. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, it is upon us to prevent suicide. Therefore, we have to be extremely careful. We have to look for certain warning signs amongst our friends, perhaps, amongst our own families. We hear of children coming up to us and telling us that I'm having a hard time with my parents. I'm having a hard time with my father or my mother. I'm having a hard time with my spouse. You see, this quality of self-loathing where they start hating themselves is because perhaps their parents are putting them down, or perhaps a spouse is putting down another spouse. The minute a father keeps on looking down on a child, the child feels as if I'm not good enough for my father. When will I, earn the praise of my father? A kind word of encouragement can make an individual move mountains. And at times between two spouses, when a spouse keeps on looking down on the other spouse by saying you're no good, or this person is better than you, you keep on looking down upon an individual, that results in that individual going into a downward spiral of depression. He or she starts to hate themselves. They start to hate themselves, they start to loathe themselves. And that's what results gradually towards thoughts or tendencies of suicide. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. So, if we wish to save a life, and that would be as if we have saved all of mankind, it is upon us to be vigilant. It is upon us to be careful. It is upon us to be observant. We believers, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not upon us to go into the abyss of depression, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, لا تحزن إن الله معنا, that do not despair, do not grieve, do not worry. Inna Allah ma'ana. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. Allah, our powerful maker, our beloved maker, He is with us. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Allah Azza wa Jal states in another place that we are closer to Him, i.e. to man, than his own jugular vein. Allahu Akbar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so close to us. We are enveloped in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is not becoming of a believer to go into the abyss of depression and negativity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. Swiftly moving, a few of the warning signs that perhaps an individual has tendencies towards suicide or is having suicidal thoughts. Number one is if that individual begins to talk about suicide. It is upon us to be careful. With our own children perhaps, our own spouses, our friends. The minute you hear one of them talking about suicide, there is a misconception that people have in their hearts that if an individual talks about suicide, he or she is not serious about it. But this is one of the warning signs that a person is having suicidal thoughts. If he or she starts talking about suicide, saying that I'm sick of life, I wish that I could take my life, I wish I could just die, I just wish that I could vanish from the face of this earth, no one is going to miss me, no one will worry about me, or no one will feel sad that I'm gone. All of these things that a person utters makes them go more and more into that abyss of suicide. And it is upon us, believers, to identify. It is upon us, parents, to identify that if our children start talking in such a manner, sit down with them, talk to them, and clear their minds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all to do so. Another sign is that when an individual starts to seek out means to kill oneself, perhaps he starts to look for pills, harmful objects like knives, sharp objects. The minute you see these signs, it is upon you, my dear brother or sister, to go up to your friend, to go up to your child, to go up to your sibling, to go to your spouse, sit down with them, talk to them, give them a listening ear, sympathize with them and empathize with them. Sympathize in the sense, acknowledge their emotional hardships. Empathize, put yourself in their shoes and try to understand the turmoil and the problems they are going through and help them. Give them a listening ear. Do not lecture them. Do not lecture them. The more you lecture them, that may result in them going further with whatever the plans that they have in mind. that same video, that particular officer himself, he states that there was this one particular case where he was called. He comes to the bridge, and the minute he comes to the bridge, there was this youngster at the edge of the bridge. That youngster, the minute he saw the officer, he jumps over the railing and is now standing on the edge of the pipe about to jump off. He quickly runs up to him and tries to counsel him, tries to advise him. And then he states, after 1.5 hours, Allahu Akbar, after 1.5 hours, the boy's name was Kevin, after 1.5 hours of just listening to that youngster, pour out his heart, all of his problems, all of his depression, all of the problems, after 1.5 hours, the youngster himself jumped back onto the railing and came back to safety. Allahu Akbar. And that individual took a complete 360 degrees, a complete U-turn. He changed his life, and now he is a father of 2 or 3 children, and he talks to people, encouraging them and counseling people who have suicidal tendencies. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. Therefore, it is upon us to give a listening ear. This officer states that you're supposed to give a listening ear. At times, these people who have these tendencies are people who have gone through such trauma that they feel that there is no one to listen to me. There is no one to listen to my problems. Everyone comes to me and starts lecturing, or everyone comes to me and tries to tell me this is what you're supposed to do. Your life is so valuable. You have no right to take your life. They come lecturing. But nobody comes to listen to our problems. Give them a listening ear. Listen to their problems and try to help them out. Furthermore, another alarm bell, another warning is that the minute an individual starts to go into the abyss of hopelessness, a believer can never go into this abyss, but then there are, and all of us, we are humans at the end of the day. The minute a person starts to feel hopeless and he feels like, I really can't do anything, I'm nothing, I'm zero. You have a superiority complex where you think of yourself as the hero, and then you have an inferiority complex where you think of yourself as zero. You should actually strike a balance. Even superiority complexes are not good. Likewise, inferiority complexes are not good. You should strike a balance where you are always positive. You have self-confidence. You are positive, and you know what? You think that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and the next day will be a better day. Another sign is withdrawal from others. The minute an individual starts withdrawing from others, social isolation, the minute he moves away from his friends, perhaps from his family, this is also a sign that an individual is going through a particular hard patch in his or her life, going through turbulence, and it is upon us believers to go talk to that individual, be it your own brother, your sister, your siblings, your children, your own spouse perhaps. Give some time, spend time with them before it's too late. And finally, my dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, there is another sign, and that is a sudden sense of calm. You have this individual who is always talking about his problems. He's always depressed, he's having problems, he's always worried, and then suddenly you see a sudden sense of calm, where that individual is suddenly looking very calm. That is also something fishy, because that means, psychologists state this, that means that this individual has decided or is planning on suiciding, on taking his own life, and that is why there is a sudden sense of calm. That is why he's suddenly seeming very calm. So it is not upon us to jump to conclusions, but rather we sit with that individual, be it our friend perhaps, talk to him and ask him, how are things? How are things? How are you feeling now? How are all of the problems? Are they all sorted out? We should try and spend time with one another. This is what we learn from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in. Sadly, today what has happened is we are all busy with our own lives. And at times this is the case even with two spouses. We are busy with our own lives, running behind this dunya perhaps. We don't make time for one another. We don't make time for our own children. We want good results from our children. We drill them. We make them go for classes. We do all of that, but we don't really sit down with our children and have a chat with our son or daughter perhaps, asking them how are things at school perhaps, how are things going on. Just talk to them. That talking, that spending time with them means so much to them, and that may change their whole perspective of life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. My dear respected elders and brothers in Islam, we as believers, every single day is valuable for us, because every single day is so valuable. We can use that day to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to secure great rewards for us in the akhirah. So let us not rush. Let us not rush to things that may result in us being losers in this world as well as the hereafter. Let us have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana. La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana. La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana. Do not worry, do not despair, do not lose hope. Allah Azza wa Jal is with us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of our sins. May He accept our good deeds. And may He unite us in the gardens of Jannah, just as how He united us here this rainy afternoon with our beloved